Welcome to Liberty Connects, brought to you by Liberty Senior Living. If you're someone who cares about aging well, this is your place to discover what's next and enjoy the journey. Each Liberty Connects podcast is made up of five-minute segments. During this month's episode, we're exploring smart tech that talks back, the delicious spark of dopamine, and the irresistible pull of the snack aisle, high decibel dining, and how the seasoned and savvy are stealing the scene. I'm your host, Lisa Fielding. Let's get started. Beyond quacks and commands, artificial intelligence virtual assistants. Well, today, artificial intelligence, or AI, appears almost everywhere, from Google search and banking to online shopping, customer support, GPS, and much more. Among consumers' favorite AI-powered devices, however, are smart speakers known as virtual assistants. Products like Apple's Siri, Google Assistant, and Amazon Alexa are projected to grow into a $30 billion market by 2029. These devices are not only expanding in capabilities, but they're also shaping culture in subtle ways. Let's take a closer look at Alexa. For anyone wondering what exactly she is, Alexa is what is known as a virtual assistant. This is an artificial intelligence-powered program that responds to voice commands, answers questions, performs tasks, and even connects with other smart devices in your home. Instead of typing on a keyboard or tapping a screen, you simply speak. The assistant processes your words, figures out what you mean, and responds, often in a surprisingly human way. Alexa has come a long way from the early days when she would hesitate in responding to inquiries with a polite, I'm not quite sure how to answer that. Today, she answers faster, speaks more fluidly, and feels less like a gadget and more like a roommate who never sleeps. Artificial intelligence is driving that transformation, and Alexa is growing up quickly. She's now learned new skills, gained confidence, and expanded her resume far beyond weather updates and timers. If you recently asked Alexa on your Echo device to set a timer, and she responded with the energy of a morning talk show host, you're not alone. Many users were startled when her voice was automatically updated recently. Suddenly, she sounds perkier, more conversational, and depending on your mood, either charmingly chatty or slightly annoying. She now seems ready to engage in a full-blown heart-to-heart with very little, if any, provocation. Alexa also has a playful side. Ask her to tell you a knock-knock joke, and she will happily oblige. Request that she quack the alphabet and prepare for an enthusiastic string of quack-preceded letters. Afterwards, she'll keep referring to that bizarre request. Need a boost? Well, she will compliment you without hesitation. She can flip a coin when you cannot make up your mind, and even recite a limerick just because you asked. Turns out your countertop companion has a decent sense of humor. Alexa's cultural impact, though, has been extended to baby names. Fun fact, the Social Security Administration reported that baby girls named Alexa in the United States dropped from 6,052 in 2015, the year the device became widely available, to just 348 in 2024, according to Statista. That is quite an unintended branding impact. As Alexa's capabilities have expanded, so has her usefulness. Today, she can make dinner reservations through OpenTable and snag concert tickets via Ticketmaster. Tell her what's in your refrigerator, and she will suggest recipes. She can control smart lights, locks, and thermostats, and even sync with your Ring doorbell. She will set reminders, create digital sticky notes, share news briefings, and stream podcasts, audiobooks, and music on demand. For older adults aging in place, virtual assistants can offer meaningful support. Medication reminders and appointment alerts help simplify routines. A quick voice command can even confirm that doors are locked or appliances are turned off. Hands-free control over lights, thermostats, and other connected devices enhances safety and independence. For individuals with mobility challenges, the ability to adjust the environment without standing up, reaching, or even navigating dark rooms can significantly reduce fall risk and physical strain. For those with low vision, voice-activated technology eliminates the need to read small screens or manipulate tiny buttons, providing spoken responses, audio news, and clear verbal confirmations. The tasks have been completed. Some services even allow caregivers to connect to a loved one's device for activity updates and added peace of mind. Virtual assistants can entertain, answer, and remind you. With all of the skills they offer, they can be a helpful part of daily life. Still, though, they are not a substitute for human contact or genuine companionship. Technology can respond, but it can't replace conversation. Shared laughter, of course, the comfort of sitting beside someone who cares. This, of course, is just one way in which senior living communities offer something technology simply cannot. Alongside convenience and support, retirement communities provide abundant opportunities for meaningful social connection, shared meals, engaging activities, the human touch, and of course, real friendships. This kind of engagement is essential for aging in a healthy way, nurturing emotional well-being and overall quality of life. Of course, there are additional trade-offs to consider if using virtual assistants. These devices are always listening for a wake term. Hey, Alexa, which raises privacy concerns for some users. Internet outages can limit functionality. Assuming responses are completely accurate is not, in fact, a completely accurate assumption. And like any technology, over-reliance can create frustration when systems fail. What feels like overnight innovation is actually more than a century in the making, though. The journey began in the 1870s with Edison's phonograph, followed by Bell's graphophone in the 1880s. By the 1950s, a system called Audrey could recognize spoken digits. And the 60s introduced Shoebox, an early voice-activated calculator. Carnegie Mellon's Harpy expanded vocabulary in the 1970s. And Dragon Naturally Speaking brought practical speech transcription in the 1990s. And the modern era arrived with Siri in 2011 and Alexa's debut with the Echo in 2014, bringing conversational technology into everyday homes. Machines first had to learn to hear, though. They had to learn to recognize words. Now they're learning to hold conversations. Love her or mute her, Alexa represents how far technology has come, from crackly recordings on wax cylinders to fluid conversations in your kitchen. Virtual assistants have evolved from novelty to necessity for many households. She can occasionally sound a bit too enthusiastic, though, before your first cup of coffee, but she's also a glimpse into a future where technology is less about typing and tapping and more about simply speaking. The sweet science of satisfaction. That electric little zing you feel when the final puzzle piece snaps satisfyingly into place. The goosebumps when Andrea Bocelli and Ed Sheeran magically blend vocals in perfect symphony. The triumphant flourish as you cross the very last thing off your to-do list. That sparkle running through you has a name: dopamine. Dopamine is often called the reward chemical. And for good reason. It's one of the body's 4 feel-good hormones, along with serotonin, oxytocin, and endorphins. If those other 3 are the cozy blanket, the warm hug, and the hearty laugh, dopamine is the confetti canyon. It's the drum roll before the announcement, the delicious sense that something wonderful is about to happen. Neuroscientist Loretta Graziano Bruning has described dopamine as the good feeling you get when you expect a reward. That's the magic of it. Dopamine is not only about the prize, it's about anticipation, the countdown, the leaning forward in your seat. Planning a vacation can light up your brain long before you step on the plane. Training for a race can energize you weeks before you cross the finish line. When you achieve something, even something small, dopamine gives you a satisfying inner high five. Finish a project, learn a new recipe, master a tricky yoga pose. Solve a crossword clue, and organize that junk drawer that has been quietly judging you for years. Each win sends a message to your brain that says, yes, do that again. Mental Health America calls dopamine a great motivator because it rewards action and helps you remember what felt good. It literally strengthens neural connections and tags certain experiences as worth repeating. That is why learning something new can feel so invigorating. Your brain is lighting up and building new pathways at the same time. Dopamine also shows up in beautiful everyday pleasures. A bite of something delicious, the first sip of morning coffee, a favorite song on the radio, a spontaneous burst of laughter with a friend. Even acts of kindness can spark what many people call a helper's high. Hold that door. Offer encouragement. Volunteer your time. Your brain quietly cheers you on. There is, however, a cautionary tale woven into this story. In our modern world, certain habits can overstimulate the reward system. Alcohol, drugs, ultra-processed foods, endless scrolling, and constant notifications can trigger unnaturally high spikes of dopamine. Over time, the brain may begin to crave those bigger surges, making everyday joys seem less exciting by comparison. It's not that dopamine is the villain, it's simply very good at its job. When dopamine levels are low, motivation can dip. Tasks feel heavier. Colors seem less vibrant. That spark is harder to find, which is why nurturing healthy dopamine matters. Well, the good news, though, is that you can invite more of it into your life in simple, nourishing ways. Dopamine is made from tyrosine, an amino acid found in foods like poultry, pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, soy, avocados, and bananas. Movement is also a powerful booster. A brisk walk, a dance break in the kitchen, a swim, or even a strength class can all elevate mood and focus. Quality sleep helps regulate the brain's delicate chemistry. Mindfulness and meditation can steady attention and support balanced dopamine activity. And perhaps most fun of all, you can design your days with tiny celebrations built in. Break big goals into smaller steps so you can get more victory moments. Try something new just for the joy of being a beginner. Make a list and relish crossing things off. Turn on music and sing along at full volume. Plan something special and savor the anticipation. And here's the best part. Living in a senior living community naturally sets the stage for these dopamine bursts. Every shared laugh at a game night, every high five after a fitness class, and every friendly chat over coffee sparks tiny hits of joy. The social connections, the opportunities to learn new skills, and the playful ways residents celebrate life all combine to keep your brain buzzing with positivity. In essence, your surroundings become a playground for happiness, where simple daily choices such as joining a hobby club, trying a new recipe, or cheering on a friend turn ordinary moments into feel-good wins. It's proof that joy doesn't have to be rare or elusive. In the right environment, it can be part of your everyday rhythm. Dopamine is the sparkle in achievement, the thrill in expectation, the spark that nudges you to grow. It's what makes life feel dynamic, colorful, and forward-moving. When you nurture it wisely, you create more moments that make you lean in, smile wide, and say, "That was amazing." From survival instinct to the snack aisle, why junk food is so appealing. So why is everything delicious bad for you and everything healthy tastes like cardboard? Is this a cosmic joke? A harsh punishment? A conspiracy by broccoli? Relax, broccoli is not plotting against you. Evolution is the culprit. For most of early human history, food was scarce. Hunting and foraging demanded enormous effort. Fat delivered sustained energy. Sugar offered quick fuel. Salt supported essential body functions. Those who craved calorie-dense foods were more apt to find them and thus survive and pass along our genes. Evolution wired our brains to reward these discoveries. Finding high-calorie food triggered a dopamine surge, feeling pleasure and reinforcing the behavior. Greens and other low-calorie plant foods were generally more available but offered little energy payoff. They didn't trigger the same level of reward, so our brains paid them far less attention. That wiring hasn't changed. Even with calories everywhere today, sweet, salty, and fatty combos still light up our reward system like an evolutionary jackpot. Fast forward to the snack aisle. Have you looked at a package label lately? You may wonder whether you accidentally enrolled in organic chemistry. Polysorbate, carboxymethyl cellulose, monosodium glutamate, sodium benzoate. These are not villains in a science fiction film, and they're even hard to pronounce. They're common additives in ultra-processed foods, industrial formulations designed to last indefinitely on a shelf and taste irresistible. Ultra-processed foods are made with refined ingredients stripped of natural nutrients and fiber, then rebuilt with added sugars, unhealthy fats, sodium stabilizers, flavor enhancers, artificial colors, and preservatives. Think soda, sugary cereals, chips, packaged cakes and cookies, candy bars, processed meats, meal replacement drinks, and many energy drinks. All the good stuff. They are engineered to hit that bliss point, the precise combination of sweet, salty, and fatty that maximizes pleasure and activates the brain's reward system. Texture, flavor, color, and even how quickly food melts in your mouth are carefully calibrated to make indulging and overindulging feel far more rewarding than abstaining. This deliberate design builds on centuries of food innovation. Over the past 2 centuries, food production evolved rapidly. Pasteurization and canning improved safety and helped feed growing populations. As the 20th century progressed and time became scarce, convenience foods expanded. By the late 20th century, ultra-processed products dominated shelves, prized for low cost, long shelf life, and mass distribution rather than nutritional value. Growing scientific evidence suggests these foods are formulated in ways that encourage compulsive eating, using strategies reminiscent of those once used by the tobacco industry. The result is not just overeating. Diets high in ultra-processed foods are linked to obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, certain cancers, fatty liver disease, depression, and cognitive decline. Over time, diets low in fiber and nutrients and high in refined carbohydrates, unhealthy fats, and sodium disrupt metabolism, increase inflammation, and negatively affect gut health. It's important to distinguish between processed and ultra-processed foods. Processed foods can be nutritious and helpful. Freezing, fermenting, pasteurizing, or canning food for safety or convenience does not automatically strip it of value. Whole wheat bread, extra virgin olive oil, plain yogurt, canned beans, and tofu are all good examples. They remain close to their original form, often have short ingredient lists, and provide fiber, protein, healthy fats, vitamins, and minerals. But the problem arises when foods become so reformulated that they barely resemble their original ingredients. That is where thoughtful culinary philosophy matters. At Liberty Senior Living, we prioritize nutritionally balanced menus built on scratch preparation, fresh and organic ingredients, and wholesome cooking methods. We're the first senior living communities to receive the seed oil-free certified cooking oil designation, which replaces industrial seed oils with certified options such as olive oil, beef tallow, and avocado oil, all to enhance both flavor and nutritional value. And we look forward to introducing this across more of our communities in the near future. If you want to become a healthier eater at home, you'll need to spot the ultra-processed culprits in order to avoid them. Here are a few simple tricks that might help. Foods that do not need labels are usually your best bet. Fresh or frozen fruits and vegetables, eggs, and whole grains are solid choices. When the foods you're looking at are packaged items and do have labels, shorter ingredient lists are generally better. If the label reads like a science experiment and includes ingredients you can't even pronounce, and would not stock in your own kitchen, it's likely ultra-processed food. Shopping the perimeter of your grocery store often leads you to produce, dairy, and proteins, foods that are healthy for you, while the center aisles typically are an ultra-processed sanctuary, and candy bars strategically wait at checkout to test your willpower. Cook simple meals at home more often, adding a vegetable to every dinner, choosing water over sugary drinks, keeping fruit visible on the counter, and pairing proteins with fiber-rich foods to stay full longer. The good news is that our palates are adaptable. If we grow up or live on highly sweetened and salty foods, whole foods can taste bland at first, but taste buds regenerate about every 10 days. It's believed that you gradually reduce added sugar and salt in your diet, your preference might shift. Fruits taste sweeter, vegetables develop more nuance. Ultra-processed snacks may begin to taste overwhelmingly sweet or salty. Certainly worth a try. To become a healthier eater, you do not have to exile every neon orange nacho chip to a remote island. But once you realize those snacks are expertly engineered to high-five your inner cave person, it gets a little easier to pause before polishing off that whole bag. Your ancestors needed calorie-packed rewards to outrun predators and survive winter. You mostly need energy for meetings, errands, and remembering why you walked into the kitchen. If you have to yell to please pass the salt, we have a problem. For reasons no one can fully explain, marketers still act like the ultimate dream customer is a 27-year-old who survives on cold brew and vibes. Meanwhile, the real VIPs are out here with paid-off houses, actual savings, brand loyalty, and the patience, but not always the eyesight, to read the fine print. Here's a news flash. Older adults are not a niche. They are not an afterthought. They're not an addendum. They are quite literally the most reliable, loyal, ready-to-spend customers in the room. And yet so many businesses seem determined to make things just inconvenient enough to feel like an obstacle course. Tiny fonts, apps that are updated just as you start to get the hang of the current version, background music that sounds like a jet engine warming up. Nowhere is this more obvious than in restaurants. Somewhere along the way, great atmosphere becomes code for acoustic chaos in which no one over the age of 35 can hear a single word. If you need to lip read across a table while shouting about the soup of the day, something has gone terribly wrong. Acoustic neglect is widely and inaccurately disguised as ambiance. In the name of minimalist design, sound dampening carpet and tablecloths have been replaced with sound reflecting materials such as wood and concrete. These ostensibly look chic, but by design cause sound waves to bounce off, bringing noise to a whole new level. Open kitchens add the percussion section of clanging pots, pans, and dishes. Then the music comes up just a little louder to embrace the vibe. The result is a symphony of noise. Enter the Lombard effect, the very real phenomenon in which people raise their voices in noisy environments to be heard. One table shouts. The next table responds. Before long, everyone is participating in a self-perpetuating noise loop that feels less like dinner and more like a pep rally. It's challenging even for the youngest of diners. For older adults, it's exhausting. And here's the irony. A significant part of the appeal of eating out, beyond great food, is the opportunity to connect, to linger, to laugh, to actually hear the punchline. When conversation becomes competitive, that experience disappears. Here are a few possible strategies for enabling you to enjoy a restaurant meal with friends without training your vocal cords. Dine at 4:15 in the afternoon when the room is blissfully empty. You might even reap the benefit of an early bird special. Ask for a quieter table, if one exists. Politely request that the music be turned down. You might be surprised how often no one asks. There is even an app you can use called SoundPrint, a crowdsourced tool that allows users to measure and report decibel levels in restaurants. It turns out that vibrant can be quantified and sometimes avoided and another destination selected instead. From QR code menus to self-checkout kiosks to other well-meaning but wildly impersonal or inconvenient trends, businesses keep designing for a narrow slice of the population while overlooking one of the most loyal customer groups they have. The companies that figure out how to make things comfortable, thoughtful, and genuinely welcoming will not just earn gratitude, they'll earn repeat business. And that is the real sound of success. Pushing back on stereotypes, how the seasoned and savvy are stealing the scene. Move over, brooding 20-somethings with commitment issues. The real main characters have arrived, and they brought reading glasses, excellent credit scores, and absolutely zero patience for nonsense. Boomers are not quietly fading into the background. They're trending. They're solving crimes, launching brands, going viral, and rewriting the cultural script on aging, while the rest of the internet is still fighting over the Barbie versus Oppenheimer rankings. Let's start with books. In the Thursday Murder Club, retirees crack cold cases between tea and biscuits. Olive Kidridge gave us a prickly, complicated older woman long before Hollywood figured out that complexity does not expire at 40. Add in Remarkably Bright Creatures, 100 Years of Lenny and Margot, and The Borrowed Life of Frederick Fife, Theo of Golden, Sipsworth, and a pattern emerges. Older adults are not side characters. They are the story, the bestsellers. Television got the memo, too, in a big way. A Man on the Inside is a popular sitcom about a retired professor turned infiltrator heartthrob. Grace and Frankie, two women of a certain age, build a business and a fierce friendship. The Kaminsky method proved that aging in Hollywood can be sharp, self-aware, and hilarious. And in Only Murders in the Building, seasoned sleuths steal every scene. Detectives, spies, therapists, comedians, community leaders. Imagine that, people over 60 actually having plot lines. Then there are the grandfluencers. Yes, I said grandfluencers. Seniors on TikTok and Instagram are partnering with fashion and makeup brands, sharing wellness routines, supporting social causes, and racking up millions of followers by simply being fully themselves. In a time of filters and Photoshop, they're completely authentic and loved and respected for that. They're ambassadors for shifting stereotypes. They're living proof that there's no expiration date on creativity, influence, or excellent skincare. And the timing is not accidental. People are living longer and healthier lives. And technology is not just for kids. Plenty of boomers FaceTime, post, stream, invest, and build businesses with impressive fluency. The outdated idea that aging equals decline is being politely shown the door. There's also a small detail called money. Adults 55 and older hold the majority of wealth in the United States and drive a significant portion of consumer spending. Welcome to the silver economy. When a demographic controls that much discretionary spending, brands, publishers, and studios pay attention. Finally, Susan Douglas of the University of Michigan has noted there are more women over 50 now than any other time in history. Translation? This is not a niche. This is a revolution with great shoes. Women in particular have been pushing back on stereotypes for decades. Now they're doing it with book deals, streaming contracts, and millions of followers. Aging is no longer a punchline. It's a power move. Boomers are adventurous and ambitious. They're committed to wellness, travel, and reinvention. They're learning and mentoring, working and volunteering, launching second acts, and sometimes solving fictional murders before lunch. So if you're wondering why seniors are suddenly everywhere in books, television, film, and your social feed, here's the answer. We were always here. The culture just finally caught up. And we're not done yet. I hope today's stories and insights have inspired you to enjoy life even more. Be sure to tune in on the 5th of each month for more Liberty Connect stories and ideas. Please subscribe to our podcast and share it with family and friends. To learn more about us, visit libertyseniorliving.com. I'm Lisa Fielding. Thanks for joining me.